Monday Night Chat with Wong Chen.
Brought to you by the Member of Parliament for Subang.
Welcome to Monday Night Chat. This is shot in the special chambers, which is where we do Kamahas activity in Parliament. This Monday Night Chat, we're going to have three categories as usual. We're going to have Policy Monday, that's written back to policy issues. Second, of course, is the standard This Week in Parliament. And lastly, Q&A in 120 seconds. Okay, for Policy Monday this week, we're going to talk about something very topical, which is basically the GST SST issue. This is going to be a very short briefing because we are still grappling with the technicalities of it. But broadly speaking, let me just say this. Number one, the GST collects about 43 billion in revenue for the government as a consumption tax. The SST, as told by Lim Guan Eng, is projected to collect about 22-23 billion. So that's basically about half. So if your bill for GST was say 2,000 ringgit in the year 2017, going forward under the SST regime, your total bill on consumption should be about 1,000 instead. Yeah, so that's the good news. The number 2 point is, is a 10%, 5% tax higher than the 6%? Obviously 10% is higher than 6%, but then the issue is about cascading. Because the SST is a tax at the factory level, a one-stage tax. It's not a multiple-stage tax. We expect, at least in theory, for prices to drop. But having said that, prices may go up because we don't know how the manufacturers and the traders will react. For instance, when we had the GST zero rated in early June, the cascading impact of prices going down did not really happen. What most people saw was just an elimination of 6%. Again, all this depends on how the market reacts to it, and we will need to see whether the policy can really result in a dramatic drop. But one thing is certain, the number of items that are exempted from SST is much higher than the GST. Now, it is estimated that the GST has about 900 items or so which are under GST, 800 plus I think if I recall. But whatever it is, the actual number, the number that is expected under SST is about 500. So basically about 300 plus to 400 items have been eliminated. Again, everything depends on whether what you consume, whether you consume lobster, whether you consume mee goreng, whether you consume a car, a telephone. It all depends on the items that you're consuming that is exempted from SST that was prior has a GST attraction. But broadly speaking, everything is still a bit vague in that sense. We are going to debate the parliamentary bills next week and I think the week after that even, because there are 5 bills related to this. Members of Parliament are very concerned about the issue about rising cost of living. So, but overall we believe the SST will deliver what it promises, which is lower revenue for government in terms of consumption tax, which can only mean savings of close to 20 billion for the public. And when the public says 20 billion in consumption tax, that 20 billion is going back to the economy overall to boost up the economic growth. Again, everything really depends in the September rollout, and then for the period of 6 months to 9 months where we monitor the rollout, see whether the companies are complying with it, traders are complying, factories are complying with it, and then action will need to be taken to ensure that prices actually result in lower living expenses for everybody. So stay tuned on SST as it develops. We'll probably talk about this a bit more next week. Once we get a clearer picture on the mechanisms, a more defined mechanism system, and as the members of Parliament are briefed further and also debated in Parliament. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Okay, for Parliament this week, as usual, I always come to Parliament very early since I live about 15 minutes away from Parliament in Mont Kiara. The week started off on Monday where we had basically members of Parliament continuing to wind up their speeches. Now, in this Parliament sitting, I've been told by the Chief Whip not to speak actually, but to guide the young members of Parliament, not young, the new members of Parliament, giving them a chance to speak So no debate at this particular session. So that continues on Monday, continued on Monday and completed on Monday. And then on Monday also, of course, I met the Danish ambassador, His Excellency Jesper. We had a long 2-hour discussion on a wide-ranging bunch of issues. Of course, Denmark is part of the EU, so we continued basically to talk about the FTA. We also had a briefing from the Women Action Group, where they talk about CEDAW, the Convention on Discrimination Against Women, the bills that they would like us to see. I then proposed back to the committee that we should form a select committee on women as soon as possible with a budget of say $1 million or $2 million so that we can actually pursue this thing actively with the adequate resources. On Tuesday was a big day. Tuesday was the MH370 report that was put on our table. The Minister for Transport at YB Anthony Loke gave a 10-minute briefing, a very quick briefing on the report. The report was actually tabled before to the next of kins on Monday itself, so members of parliament got the tabling on the Tuesday. Tuesday also saw the SST bills being pushed through, the 5 bills related to SST, and then the Minister of Finance, Guan Eng, this SST is his baby, is his flagship program. So he actually gave us a briefing, he gave a short briefing, and then 2 civil servants gave a much longer briefing on the SST mechanism. Members of Parliament from Pakistan are supposed to prepare ourselves to debate SST next week. On Wednesday, we returned back to the issue that I raised last week, which is on Cambodia. Because the Cambodia election is done, there was an observer from Malaysia, Datuk Muhammad Yusof, who said that the Cambodian election is excellent. Myself and Charles Santiago, we belong to the Asian Parliamentarians for Human Rights. We actually made a statement on the issue to condemn this kind of whitewashing by this particular member of the Election Commission. On Thursday, we continue into the Minister's replies to the speeches. Since I did not take part in the debate, but the new members of Parliament did, so I'm just there to observe and see the quality of the debate and to give some advice to members of Parliament how to debate. So that's basically the Parliament this week. 4 days of Parliament, Monday to Thursday. Okay, Q&A this week, 120 seconds. We have a lot of issues to cover. We've got about 6 questions then. Okay, first question. Mahathir as Chairman of Khazanah, I think that's an honorary title. I hope it's not too political. We will need to, in Pakistan, to ensure that the Khazanah is not used as a political issue, but run by professionals. Number 2, my views on Khazanah, EPF Sharif taking over. I know him personally. I like what he's done at EPF, so I have very good hopes or high hopes that he'll continue the good work of Azman Mokhtar. Tan Sri Azman, of course, is well respected by the corporate world, and his performance says itself. In 2004, they had a value of 47 billion net worth asset. That has doubled, it's gone three times to 115 billion after factoring inflation. 115 billion in 2017. After factoring inflation, inflation at 2014, the number should come out at 63 billion. So he's actually done double up on the actual performance of Khazanah since 2004. So thank you for your service, and I look forward to Shahrial's good performance too, to continue. Number 3, allegations of TM contract given to Mokhzani. The government has clarified that it is actually an open tender system and was awarded, was considered before the election even. The amount is reasonably small by Malaysian standard. But going forward, of course, we have to be mindful of this kind of awards. Otherwise, people will start saying that Malaysia is going back to crony capitalism. Number 4, past support for UMNO at Sungai Kandis. Well, that is getting clearer and clearer by the day. That is why this election is going to be quite interesting. Taqiyuddin say you can vote for anyone except for Pakatan Harapan. Okay. Number 5, Aru Kanda's 5 million controversial pay. The government is trying to claw back. My opinion is, you have to look at it from a legal point of view. Was it stated in the contract, in the employment contract? If it is, whether we like Aru Kanda or not, we probably have to comply with the law itself. Yeah. Number 6, am I standing in PKR party election? Yes, I'm standing as the MPP. So you should see me on the road campaigning for the Rafizi team. That's it for Q&A this week.